teenagers on the internet. I have no plans for this. This is going to be reading throughout the week, the 2 weeks, I don't know, however long I want to film this. I am just kind of mood reading. If you saw my May TBR, I mentioned there that I did so poorly on reading my own books in April, that is like my focus for me. So I can only read books that I own, the 2 arcs that I have that I would like to get to this month, and then any nonfiction book, even if I don't own it. So, which basically means I have 0 motivation to read any books right now, which is like always kind of the case and always kind of unfortunate. But anyway, I'm also participating in Escape the Readathon. I'm on Team Hackers. Go Team Hackers. Best team. And yeah, so I've already finished 2 books this month. I'm also like stuffy. Like I've never had allergies before, but like my nose is stuffy, and I don't know if it's, I'm in I always forget how to pronounce it, Koshu, something like that, which is a city in the south of Taiwan, for the weekend. And as soon as I got here, like immediate stuffiness. So I don't know if there's just like grace fighting pollen here, but like I sound like I can't breathe, which is kind of true. So if I have to pause to blow my nose or something like that where it gets too bad, we'll see. Anyway, I have read 2 books so far for the month. I have read A Curse So Dark and Lonely, which is on my self-destructing, and it was also on my main TBR. I gave it a 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. It's a pretty classic fantasy Beauty and the Beast retelling. Think ACOTAR, and then you have this. But I think there may be a like love triangle that's kind of being introduced. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's okay, so it's this girl, and her name is Harper, and she basically is out on the streets one night. She and her family have like trouble with loan sharks, because her father had a lot of debts, and then when he passed, the debts passed to them. And so her brother is like trying to pay it off and working for this guy and like doing some unsavory things. And her mother has cancer, and so they're also trying to pay her medical bills. And she has like 2 months to live kind of thing. And Harper is waiting for her brother Jake to like basically as like the getaway driver, and she sees this random man basically trying to kidnap this girl, and she's like, you can't kidnap the girl, like I'm gonna go whack you on the head. And she ends up getting kidnapped and brought into this magic realm. Yeah, so I really enjoyed it. I like the main character. She has cerebral palsy, which I thought was an interesting touch. It's not something I knew going into it, but it's not something she limits her, so yeah. Then I read and finished, well, reread The Red Pyramid by Rick Riordan, which is the first book of the Kane Chronicles. It's a middle grade book following these like teenagers and like Egyptian mythology. So, and their siblings, Carter and, I always want to call them Carter and Katie. Carter and Sadie Kane. So yeah, it's, I'm not sure what I could like, even though I like just read it, like I'm never sure like how to give a description for a reread, but I give it 4 stars. I don't like it quite as much as the Percy Jackson series, mostly because in the Percy Jackson series, they're all children of the gods, so like the magic structure is a little bit more rigid, but in this series they're hosts of the gods, and so the magic is always a little bit more fluid, like what they have proficiency in. Like they can all kind of do the base level of all the different types of magic. So there's like combat magic and like tracker magic. I don't know if they're tracker magic. There is combat magic though. And so but then they have like proficiency in one. And so I feel like it's never quite explained or delved into like which magics Carter and Sadie have proficiency in. They're just kind of overpowered. So yeah, it's not my favorite series mostly because of that, but it is part of my reread of that series. So the order I reread them in is Percy Jackson and the Olympians, then the Kane Chronicles, then the Heroes of Olympus, and then the Magnus Chase books. Magnus Chase and Gods of Asgard, I think is what that series full name is, and then the Trails of Apollo. I actually have only ever read the first 3 Trails of Apollo and the first 2 Magnus Chase books. I never read the third one. Not for any particular reason. I own the third one. So there wasn't any reason to not read the third Magnus Chase book. But I've only read the first 3 Trails of Apollo books. And then I just like stopped reading for a while, and that's kind of where I paused on that. So I would like to get back there at some point and finish off the series and then read the new ones that are coming out. Technically as part of the original Percy Jackson series, but they take place after all of those other books. So I have a while before I get there. But anyway, I am currently in the middle of 3 books right now. And for Escape the Readathon, A Curse So Dark and Lonely, I counted for Gym and Spa, a book I've been putting off. And then The Red Pyramid, I counted for Pool because it got like exactly 2 E's, exactly 2 R's, whatever. I'll put all the information for Escape the Readathon down in the description. Cause I'm not gonna go over here. Yeah, so basically it's just a readathon and it's got prompts. So anyway, I'm in the middle of The Kingdom of Back by Marie Lu. I have discovered I really just don't like historical fiction books. Like, I just really don't. Like, there's an odd exception of, like, usually a historical fantasy, where, like, the fantasy element is a little bit more pervasive than the historical element. So, like, in the, what's it called? The Glass Library series, which I absolutely adore. It's a historical fantasy. That one's, the fantasy is, like, over prevalent over the historical aspect, but it doesn't feel like it's limiting, probably because it's set later. It's set post World War II, so like 1940s, 1950s, and this one is set during Mozart's time in the Kingdom of Back because it's about Mozart and his older sister. But yeah, I'm not vibing with it so far. I hate it when women are treated poorly, like, and women are still treated poorly in modern day. Like, you get the exact same horrible feelings that you could get back then. Anyway, so I think that's just something I've discovered about myself, is I'm not particularly a historical fiction girly, because history is, for the most part, sad. Anyway, so I'm kind of like reading that one in the background. I would like to finish it because Marie Lu is one of my favorite authors, and I would like to read all of her books. And again, it's a book I own, so I would like to give it a little bit more time, but it's just kind of something I'm reading in the background. Another thing I'm reading in the background is The Radium Girls by Kate Moore. That's a nonfiction girls. Also takes place, no, this one takes place during World War One. Like right around that time, so historically, like when radium was discovered, it was like this like cure-all, like everybody loved it, and they did all these sorts of things with it, and then all these people started dying. And so the part I'm at right now, it's broken up into 3 sections. It's like the history, that's the section I'm in right now, and then I don't remember the other 2 sections, but we'll get to it eventually. But yeah, it's basically these they call them dial painters, but so like for wristwatch, and they use them for like the mechanics on like planes and stuff like that for the war especially. They would paint them with radium paint so that they would glow in the dark, and so that people could see what the numbers were. And the people who painted them were women who worked in these factories, and they were called dial painters. And these dial painters started to get all these health issues. Most of the time it seems that the most noticeable was around their teeth. So, oh wait, give me a second. Sorry, my nose is like literally running. It's like not like normal mucus, but it's like the more watery kind. Anyway, I'm not gonna talk about it. What was I saying? Oh, the Radium Girls. And so they would do this lip and dip technique. So I don't, if you've like ever painted, you know, like when you paint something, sometimes the bristles will spread, and then you could like either dip it in water and like roll it with your fingers. But a lot of times what they would do is I don't remember like the exact order, it's not important, but they would basically use their their lips and their tongue to make sure the bristles all stay together on the end of the paintbrush, which is a like Chinese technique, and it would center around. I remember what I was saying. The most noticeable parts would center around their jaw. So I don't know if it was only a decay of the bone, but their like teeth would start rotting. They would be in so much pain, like unimaginable pain. They're basically their bodies were killing themselves because of this radium poisoning that they had, but they didn't know it was radium poisoning. They called it Fossy jaw because phosphorus poisoning was like a huge thing at the time. But like some of them were just like diagnosed with all these random things. So like there's this one girl who ended up, her like official death certificate said that she died of syphilis, even though like people who knew her, like that was not something that she would have had. And like some of them, there's one girl who, I don't remember all their different diagnoses, but basically these girls start dying, and one of these girls, her name is, I remember her name is Grace because it's my name, but her family is basically threatening to sue this radium dial company, and so now at first they were like, no, the paint can't cause cancer, like, or the paint can't cause all these things, like, radium is completely safe, like, everybody is saying it's completely safe, like, of course it is, which it wasn't, which, like, now in hindsight we know, but now the company is finally like, oh, we have to like actually like look into this now that like it's potentially bad for business, and like these girls, like since they were in Newark, New Jersey, no, Orange, New Jersey, I think they were originally in New York and then they moved to Orange, anyway, they like were all going to the same dentist in Orange, and like the dentists were like, what the fuck is going on? Like, how are, like, they were able to piece together that all of these girls had worked at this factory, and like obviously this is the cause of what's happening with their bodies. So yeah, it's a little dark, but yeah. So I'm reading that in the background, and then the book I'm like actively reading, I'm like halfway through it right now, so I'm probably gonna finish it tonight, is Hex Hall by, oh, who is it by? Let me pull it up. I am curious. I'm gonna put this one. Oh, this is my computer. This is my Notion setup for Escape the Readathon. And I have it like linked back with my entire books database, so I can like relate them. And so I'm just gonna add the relation in for Hex Hall because I know I'm gonna finish it tonight and then log it. But then I can see like who the author is, and I don't have to. There it is. And then I don't have to like travel all the way back to my other database. I just reference it right here. So Hex Hall by Rachel Hawkins. Yeah, I am enjoying it. Is it a fantasy book is it a supernatural book that was written around the time of Twilight? Yes. Does it read like that? Absolutely. Am I still enjoying it? Yes. For some reason they can't say the word fuck, which is like so weird. And like, it's, the writing style is a little off-putting because it was written in 2012, but there's like one moment where the main girlie, okay, so basically the main girlie, she's a witch, and she gets sent to this school for supernatural creatures where they call them some weird name, I don't remember, but it's witches and warlocks, and then fairies, and shifters / werewolves, which apparently are different things in this world. And then do you ever just forget how to breathe? Because I do all the time. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, witches and warlocks, fairies, and shifters, and werewolves. And then just recently they have started to admit vampires, who are considered like monsters, like the worst of the worst. And our girlie, I've already forgotten her name, and she basically gets roommates with the one vampire that's at the school, which is like very controversial because her previous roommate died last year, or like the previous year, due to what everybody else thinks was her fault, because she had puncture wounds in her neck and her wrist, approximately they look like vampire marks, but they were deemed too neat to be vampire marks. So it's like if I, ooh, my hole came in. So like if I were to like stab 2 holes, like that's what it looks like, as opposed to like if teeth were to do it, then it would be like a little bit more messy, a little more jagged. Anyway, so like it's concluded that it's not her fault, but everybody thinks it is. And then there's already this like perception that vampires are monsters. So that's like kind of what's going on. Yeah, it's just fine, but like there's something about just like this 2012 supernatural writing style that like it's just what it is. I don't know what else to say about it, but yeah, that's what I am reading. Oh, mosquito, they are everywhere. I try to kill them whenever possible. Anyway, that's what I'm reading. I don't know what the next like active book I'm gonna read is. I think maybe the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. Yeah, I have my first feeling of like finishing more books than there were days in the month last month. So like I'm really trying to get that again. So we'll see if I can do it. I have faith in myself. Also I think the fact that like I was doing a readathon last month and I'm doing one this month, and the one this month is like not limited by the number of prompts. Like there's only a couple of prompts, but there will be like more introduced later on, and then you can read as many books for the prompts as you want. So I feel like it's even less limiting in that regard. But yeah, I am gonna go back to reading. That's my update. This is gonna be a very talky vlog, and there's gonna be no rhyme or reason to picking any of these books. So yeah, anyway, that's it. Bye bye. So my update is the next day. I did end up finishing Hex Hall last night. And I also started and finished Tears of a Tiger by Sharon M. Draper. That is a really sad book. I've read Forged by Fire, which is also that part of that Hazelwood High trilogy. They're connected standalones. And I almost cried at the end. It's a very sad book, but a very impactful book. I really like Sharon M. Draper's writing style. So it's about this boy, Andy, and he and 3 of his other friends get into a car accident after they were drinking and driving, and one of the boys, Robbie, ends up dying, and Andy feels responsible because he was the one behind the wheel, and so it's just kind of them navigating that grief and what's going on after that. So yeah, very sad book. And then I'm still in the middle of Radium Girls, The Kingdom of Back, and the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton, which were the same 3 books that I had. Well, no, I think I finished Hex Hall, and then I started the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. I have no clue what's going on in that book so far. I was on reading sprints for like the first 2 hours, and I read the first like 50 pages or so, and I'm so lost. And then I read the description because I was so lost, and I'm like, I'm even more lost right now. So I presumably just haven't gotten to the part where it makes sense, but since I was on reading sprints, I like put in the comments like I just started the book and I was very confused. And Heather, who was one of the hosts for that particular sprint, she was like, oh, I've read it, you just gotta like stick it out, like it doesn't make sense for a while, but when it does, it like really does. And so, and I like mystery books, and I like thriller. Well, I've read one book that I would consider a thriller, so, but I like mystery books a lot, and so I'm vibing with it. I'm confused, but I like to be confused in a mystery book, so, because then like when everything comes together at the end, you're like, whoa, didn't see that coming. But like, also I should have. I feel really stupid when reading mystery books, but that's the way I like to feel. I like to feel like I could have figured it out and I just wasn't smart enough to. Not that it didn't make sense, and how would I ever figure that out, which is a bad mystery book to me. But anyway, yeah, I am just gonna chill here and maybe read. I don't know. I like want to read, but I can't like convince myself to read. I'm gonna like, I want to start new books mood, but I don't want to like I don't want to like take the time to finish the books I'm currently in the middle of. I think I'm gonna continue with the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle right now, because that's the one I'm vibing with the most. I feel very disheartened every time I only see I'm like a third of the way through The Kingdom of Back, because I'm just not vibing with that. I think the historical aspect is just like too prevalent, and I'm just not a historical fiction girly. I just can't. I just don't care. And like, they treat them so horribly. Like, all the people. All the not rich white people. All the not rich white male people. So yeah, I think after DNFing Kitty Carr, and I think Kingdom of Back is just going to be like a background, like if I'm doing like homework or something, I'm just going to pop it on in the background noise. Yeah, but I'm enjoying Radium Girls, from what I've read of it, and I'm enjoying 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, so 2 out of 3 of the books right now are a win. Anyway, I'm just gonna rot here for a while. Okay, bye-bye. Hello. So it has been a while since I've given an update. I have my journal here, so for reference. Okay, the last update I gave you, I'd finished Hex Hall and Tears of a Tiger, and was in the middle of the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, The Kingdom of Back, and Radium Girls. I have now finished all 3 of those books, plus another one. It's so humid in here. My glasses just like immediately fogged up as soon as I put them on. So after finishing Tears of a Tiger, I picked up the 3rd book in that series, which is the only one I hadn't read, which was Darkness Before Dawn. And that one is also very sad. I'm not going to tell you what that one's about, because it is, I think in the last clip I said that the Hazelwood High trilogy of those, like, by Shannon Draper is connected standalones. They're not connected standalones. I think the first 2 books, so Tears of a Tiger and Forged by Fire, I think you could read those 2 in any order. I read Forged by Fire first. I can see how you could read Tears of a Tiger first. Like, those 2 is not gonna like matter, but both of those books take place basically at the same time. And then this book, Darkness Before Dawn, takes place after both of those books. So both of those, the first 2 books take place during their junior year of high school, and then this book takes place during the senior year of high school. So like, you definitely have to read those 2 first to understand all the context of the characters in this book. Well, I guess you don't have to, but like, it definitely helps. And so I give that one a 4-star. It's definitely a little bit different than the first 2. So yeah, but I'm not gonna go into details, because again, you have to read the first 2 before. But this book follows Keisha. That's all I'll say. This book follows Keisha. So yeah, I have not finished that trilogy. I loved Forged by Fire when I read it. That was one of the Battle of the Books, which like, I think I need to like psychoanalyze like why those books are so impactful to me. Like, I still remember like most of the books that I read for that challenge event thing that I did in middle school. But yeah, and now I've read the other 2 books in that series, which I had bought them at some point and had never read them. So yeah, I finished that. I gave it 4 stars. I don't remember what I submitted any of these for the Escape the Readathon, but just know that all of these were submitted for Escape the Readathon, one of the prompts. And then I powered through on the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. I had talked also in the last clip, I just like rewatched it so I knew what I had talked about like the kind of mysteries that I liked, and I gave this one 3.5 stars because it is not the kind of mystery I like. If there's a twist that I don't think is bad, but I think it kind of ruined the story for me, and I won't tell you what it is because it's introduced like 3/4 of the way through, but it's not something I ever would have guessed. It's not something I think you were supposed to guess. Like, that's not the point of it. Like, I don't know, there's just something about that particular twist that didn't do it for me, and I think it was trying to send a certain message or like some sort of moral of the story, and I don't think it needed it. And then I think for the mystery itself, I think it got a little bit too convoluted, and it's like one of those things where it's like, you were never gonna guess it. Like, and you weren't supposed to. Yeah, I don't know. And I actually did write like a Goodreads review for this, which I'm like, most of the time I don't, but sometimes if I have something like to say that I will. But I was, so you're always in the point of view of this character, Aiden. You are always in Aiden's point of view. But sometimes Aiden will figure something out, and he won't say it to you, the reader, until somebody else who is there with him figures it out. And that is so annoying to me, because I'm like, I am you, Aiden, right now. Like, I am in your brain. Tell me what you figured out, because I have not figured it out. And because you say you have figured it out, and I feel like now, because I have all the information that you supposedly have, I should also have figured it out. Like, but then, like, it gets revealed, and I'm like, how did you figure that out? Like, because with the information we were given, I feel like you jumped another step. So that pissed me off, because if we are in Aiden's point of view and Aiden figures something out, I feel like we, the reader, should also have been able to figure it out. And I feel like that wasn't always the case. And it did it several times where Aiden had figured something out, but then we wouldn't find out until later on when somebody else, another character besides Aiden, had now figured it out and said it out loud. I feel like this is a mystery where you will not know anything until a character physically says it out loud, out of their mouth. Like, which, like, is obnoxious. Is it not? Like, I feel like if we're in the mind of Aiden, if Aiden figures something out in his mind, we should, as the reader, should know it. We shouldn't have to wait for him or another character to speak the words out loud for us to know it. Which is just frustrating. So I only give it a 3.5. Because, like, there were, up until that, like, twist, so up until that 3/4 mark, I was confused, but confused in a good way. And then after that, I was confused, but confused in a bad way. Because at that point, we should be able to, like, start figuring out the mystery ourselves. And that didn't happen. But I'm not going to discount the fact that I like the beginning parts. So, and like, overall, I feel like there was some karmic justice that got brought up. So, anyway, and then I was like feeling 100% fine like 10 minutes ago, and then as soon as I turned the camera on, I'm like gross again. And then I finished The Kingdom of Back. So, I gave this one a 2 stars. I was reading the author's note, and apparently this was the first book Marie Lu had ever written, but didn't publish it until significantly after. Like, after she had published Legend, after she had published, like, all her other, like, dystopian, sci-fi, whatever books. And I think I don't know, I think I'm just not a historical fiction girly, first off. And then I think that the historical fiction and the fantasy elements didn't quite match. Also, there's a twist with one of the characters that I saw coming from, like, the first time that they were introduced. So, like, and then, like, it's supposed to be this big thing of, like, this character twist, and I didn't, because I saw it coming so far ahead that, like, it wasn't, like, that big of a deal. And, like, also because I saw it coming so far ahead, I'm like, don't be stupid, don't do this. And then they did it anyway. Yeah. And then yesterday I finished, today's May 10th, I don't know what day I last filmed, but then yesterday, so on the 9th, I finished The Radium Girls by Kate Moore. I really enjoyed it. I gave that one a 3.5 stars, but, like, in my mind, it's a higher 3.5 stars than I gave the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. That one, it's slow because it's a nonfiction book, but that one I also read the author's note for, and I think that really, like, put it into a new perspective for me. So I would actually recommend, as for Radium Girls, read the author's note first, because Kate Moore, she's actually British, and she had, like, stage managed, directed a play about these Radium Girls in Britain, and she was like, this is a very compelling story, like, I want to research more about these Radium Girls. And she had found several books about, like, the mystery itself of, like, and like the legal battle that these girls went through, and, like, the scientific aspects, but she didn't find any, like, books or stories about the girls themselves. And so she like went to America. She went to like Newark and New York, and Ottawa, Illinois, which is where these like big radium dial painting places are. And she like talked to the family members. She found like their diaries and she like really made these girls into people. And like that did make it a little bit slower of a read, because like you're learning about these people and their stories, and so it makes it a little bit slower. But I think like it was definitely worth it. Like it gave these girls a voice, even though they died like 100 years ago at this point. Well, let's see, it's 2025. The first of them, about 1927, I think, is when they started like having all these real conflict or these real issues. So about 100 years ago. Yeah. My voice is just like completely shot right now. And then I also last night started and then got like 10% through Throne of Fire by Rick Riordan. This is the second book in the King Chronicles. It's urban fantasy that follows Egyptian mythology. If you know Rick Riordan, any of his books, it's usually urban fantasy that follows some sort of mythology. This one is Egyptian. This is part of my reread of the Riordan verse to like get to the last couple of books that I never actually read, including the third Magnus Chase book, the last two Trails of Hollow books, the new ones that are coming out as part of the original Percy Jackson books. I never read the Nico and Will book. That one is like a crime against humanity, and I don't think I'll get to that one in June because I'm just not reading through the series. I'm reading other books besides just that series. So I don't think I'm gonna get that far because I'd have to get through like literally everything else first. But yeah, and then the next book I plan to read is That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Human, which is the last book in the Mead Mayhaps trilogy. And that one I know is just gonna be a silly goofy time because all of them are silly goofy times. So yeah, that's the next book I plan to read. I think I'm gonna go to the library today and just like read and do work. And just like not be here. It's raining outside. I don't know if you heard the rain, but it's been pretty heavy today and yesterday, so I am just gonna go sit inside and read. Yay! Okay, so I just finished Throne of Fire by Rick Riordan, King Chronicles, book 2. Is it also 2 in the morning? Yes. We're ignoring that fact right now. I'm trying to like use my head to block the light so it doesn't like do weird things, but just sitting outside at 2 in the morning talking about books. Anyway, finished Throne of Fire. Throne of Fire is definitely my least favorite book in the King Chronicles trilogy. It's not a filler book because like it definitely like sets up the plot, and like there's definitely a significant amount of things that happen. Like, I don't know if Rick Riordan knows how to write a filler book, and I love that. But it is definitely my least favorite. So yeah, anyway, King Chronicles, Egyptian mythology, urban fantasy. Yeah. Yeah, I did give it a 4 stars though. I feel like all of those books like have very nostalgic feelings for me, so like just reading about the characters, I don't know. I feel like the Kane siblings, like they're not the most likable of characters. They're kind of obnoxious like most of the time. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have anything else to say about it. And then also earlier today I started and finished That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Human, which like, okay, this is the third book in the Mead Mayhaps trilogy, the last book I guess. And this book follows, what's his name? It's not Damien, it's like Darian? No, that's not right either. I don't remember. It starts with a D and it's something pretentious. And then the girl, her name is Cherry. And if you have read the first book, you know who Cherry is. So this book follows her and one of the other dragons. But yeah, this one, the title is actually misleading because he doesn't get drunk, he gets high. So
Yeah, but the first 2 books are The Time I Got Drunk. Well, yeah. It's The Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon. The Time I Got Drunk and You Did a Love Potion at a Werewolf, which, to be fair, she was drunk when she did that. And then this one is The Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Human, indicating that the dragon guy was drunk, but he wasn't drunk, he was high. Anyway, that's really not the issue. They're like all like light and fun. I think this is my least favorite of the 3, just because I feel like the plot wasn't as strong, and there were some things that I was expecting to happen that just didn't. And yeah, I don't know. It's my least favorite of the 3, but I did read it, and it was cute. I gave it a 3.5 or just a 3. I don't remember. It was good. It was entertaining. I was entertained. Yeah, the next book that I'm planning to pick up is And They Were Roommates by Paige Powers. This is an arc that I have, and I'm so excited about it. I've like started to see I've like been following Paige Powers as they've been writing this book, and like all the promotional stuff that they've been putting out, and like I unironically say And They Were Roommates like all the time. Like I see something gay on TV and like has nothing to do with roommates, and I'm like, And They Were Roommates. Like I just use that as my shorthand for gay all the time. And I'm so excited to read this. It comes out on May 27th. Today is the 10th. Is today the 10th or the 11th? I don't know. Days are weird. It's actually the 12th because it's past midnight, and the 11th is Mother's Day, which was yesterday, Sunday for me technically. So yeah, that's the next book, and I'm so excited. I have no idea what it's actually about. I assume it's about 2 guys who are roommates, and that's really about my only guess. Hiccups. But yeah, I don't know if I'll start it tonight. I think it's a relatively short book. Like it's right around 300 pages. But yeah, anyway, also, Team Hackers, we just unlocked the theater room, so we have new prompts, and this counts for, like, I mean, presuming I finish it before we, like, finish the game room, it only fits for one of the prompts, a book with some sort of deadline. I don't remember exactly what the wording of the prompt is, but the fact that like this book comes out in like a couple of weeks and I want to read it before it comes out, like, or yeah, whatever the wording of it is, like this book fits for that one prompt, but it doesn't fit for any of the other ones. But yeah, anyway, doing good on Escape the Readathon stuff, doing good on reading stuff. I don't know how long this video is gonna go on. In my mind, I was just gonna continue filming this until I bothered to edit and upload all the other videos that I had filmed in March and April, which I'm like almost through. I have the hockey romance video, which will go up, and then that might be it. Oh, and my magical readathon recap, which halfway through May and still haven't put that up, so who knows. That one may just go to the wayside, but yeah, I am excited to continue reading, and I'm excited to like film like more challengey type videos again, but I just wanted to like get through the backlog of like 7 videos that I had filmed and hadn't bothered to edit because I'm lazy like that. But yeah, anyway, that's the update. I at least gonna go lay down in bed, probably read fanfiction. I recently got back into Miraculous Ladybug fanfiction. Yes, there's something so satisfying about Miraculous Ladybug fanfiction because the actual show itself is like so shit. I can't watch the new stuff, and they like changed the animation, and I don't know if they like restarted or like what's going on with the new animation, but I keep seeing it like on my Instagram reels and stuff like that, and I'm like, what the fuck happened? Like, bring me back my original Marinette Dupeng Chang. Like, she looks kind of creepy now. She looks like one of those dolls in a horror movie that like is gonna get brought back to life. But yeah, that's the update. For real this time. Bye bye. Hello. So this is going to be the final update for this video. I am in Korea right now, and so I'm going to be filming what I read while I'm in Korea. So that should be coming out eventually. But for the last book for this video, I read like 2 days ago at this point, and They Were Roommates by Paige Powers. This is the book. It's a book that I had an art copy of, and it comes out on May 27th. I thought it was just okay. I like the concept of it. So the concept is it's this trans boy, Charlie, who goes to this all-boys school called Valentine Academy, whatever. It's like a pre-Ivy, like very famous, or not famous, like very rich and posh. And so he is basically hiding that he's trans, and his roommate is this guy named Jasper, and Jasper is the guy that broke Charlie's heart the summer before Charlie transitioned. So yeah, that is an interesting concept. I feel like it's a little bit too simplistic and flat in general for my personal taste. So like there's a lot of talk about like privilege and nepotism, because Charlie is there on scholarship, and Charlie, to keep the scholarship, has to be in the like top 5, which is like the like top 5 is like 99.3, like that, like out of 100, like that's what the number 5 rank is, like stuff like that. Like it's very, very competitive, and I feel like there's a lot of topics related to that and a lot of feelings that are related to that, and they're just like mentioned but they're never really delved into. And then also the like traditional ideals of like, can a trans man go to this traditional school? There are a couple of characters who do come out as gay to like each other, and they're like, but we would never like come out to the school because like we could like get kicked out, or we would be politely asked to leave. And I feel like it's mentioned but it's never really like delved into, and so I was expecting a little bit more, and it didn't quite deliver, but it's still good. I think if this is like the first book you've read on this topic, I think it does a good introductory job, but I read a lot of queer fiction, and I just read last month it's got a complicated words of titles. It's The Last Boyfriend's Guide to Revenge, something like that. It's by Matthew Hubbard, and I think that one does a really good job and actually like does delve into these topics a little bit more than this one does. Not the like nepotism issue, but like the like issue of queerness, and like when is it okay to come out, and like not like when is it okay, but like when do you feel safe to come out is a better way to put it. And yeah, I feel like I was expecting just a little bit more and I didn't get it. So I gave it a 3.5. Yeah. And that is going to be the end of this video. It was mostly just mood reading. I finished all of the videos that I had filmed in like March and April and hadn't edited yet. I haven't put up the hockey romance one because I haven't made a thumbnail for it yet, but they're all edited, which is nice because I had like, I think almost 9 or 10 videos like backlogged. So yeah, which means I will not be posting like a video every 2 days, but yeah, it's nice to just like not have all that sitting on my phone anymore, which is, yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna stop talking now. It's 2 a.m. I just had like the worst possible night. And if you want to hear about it, stay tuned for my Korea video because I am about to film the intro for that and talk about what I want to read and my horrible night that I just had. So yeah, anyway, I will see you someplace else on the internet. I hope your night was a lot better than mine. And yeah, that's it. Bye.